Rob Flax here. I play things with strings, I hit stuff, and I sing. And today I'm doing another string review. It's been a while since I changed my strings. Right now what I have on here are the Thomastik Infeld TI strings. That's part of the luthier line, and recently they've become more readily available in the United States. Typically these are only sold in bulk to luthiers and violin shops who have a bunch of violins they want to string up at a time, but I believe these are now available through several online retailers and are easier to get a hold of. I like them a lot. They're very good strings. They're balanced. I like them much more than the Dominants. I like them a little bit more than the Vision Titanium orchestras and Vision Titanium solos I had used previously. The other videos that you may have seen on my channel, I reviewed the Pi strings, which are very nice, but not so much nicer for the price. So I went back to the TIs, and they've been great, but these are pretty old and dead, and it's been a while since I changed them. Might as well try something new, and let's find out how we like them. So the next thing I want to try is these, which I got from Paul DeLude at the New England Violin Shop. You can watch my Chincello vlog video if you haven't. Go see Paul in all of his candor. He was nice enough to put them in a little package for me. When you sell them, again, these ones that I have here are also part of the luthier line, and they're sold in bulk. So these are the Rondos. And they're the luthier line, so they just come in these tubes, right?
Correct.
Okay, make sure we got one of each.
So yellow is G, blue is A, D is green. Same as dominant strings. Okay.
Thanks, Paul. These are the Thomastik Infeld Rondos, and I have never tried them, but Paul says you'll probably like them if you like the TIs and the Pis. Well, let's science it. I'm going to do the same thing that I did for the previous two videos where I tried the new Pis versus the old TIs and the new TIs versus the old Pis. This is going to be new Rondos versus old TI strings. And I'll do the same thing. I'm going to play the same excerpts that I did in those videos. A 2-octave G major scale going up to shifting up to the high G. A sort of warm and gooey thing on the low G string. I'll play Picture in a Frame by Tom Waits. And then I'm going to play a little bluegrass, The Road to Columbus, as played by Kenny Baker on Kenny Baker Plays Bill Monroe. Let's dive in. First, the TIs. Okay, great strings, nice and balanced, a little bit lifeless right now compared to when I first put them on, so let's change the strings. On these feels a little different. Maybe it's just because they're new and still have a little stretching out to do. But let's play the same excerpts and see how we hear. Ooh, that's a nice E string. The most noticeable difference is on the D string. Okay, let's go. Okay, so first impressions of these strings before they've settled in. The G and D strings feel a little brighter, maybe a little woodier, almost more of like an oboe or English horn sort of nasal thing, which could be really good and might be totally gone by the time these have settled in. They seem nice. I'm not blown away. I think we'll have to see after they settle in. So I'm going to pause the video now and come back in 3 weeks and I'll film an update to see how they're settling in. That's good science. Yeah, it's a bit more tension on these perhaps, but we'll see. Okay, back in 3 weeks. It's been 2.5 weeks and I've been playing on these strings for 2.5 weeks when I'm practicing. So far, very good first impressions. I like them a lot. They've mellowed out to be nice and even. I just want to play them for you now, do the same excerpt so you can hear it, and I'm going to edit it so you can actually hear all three side by side. So you'll hear the old TIs and then the brand new Rondos and then how they are today. So I'll switch back and forth so you can let your ear notice the things that it might not. If you're like me and have just been using the strings for a while, some of it is, of course, I've had some time to adjust to them. Some of it is I may be in better or worse practicing shape or didn't get enough sleep last night or whatever, but trying to control for as many variables as I can here to give you a relatively unbiased perspective on how they sound, and then I'll give you my 2 cents. So here's the excerpts again, using the same mics in approximately the same position. Hopefully that's not too much of a shift either, but it totally matters. So here we go. First, the scale. All right. One thing I mentioned last time was I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about the strummy strummies, so I've been strumming. So, my 2 cents. Compared to the TIs, at least now, out of context, I'm not really able to distinguish so well and go, oh, those were definitely the Rondos and those were definitely the TIs. They both are really good sounding strings. Much of my concern is how it feels under the fingers. And if you're concerned about budget, how long they last. So, TIs have a pretty good shelf life or will stay relatively vibrant for a long period of time, so much so that I don't notice to change my strings until I go, oh, maybe I should change my strings, and it's been 6 months. Some of that is pandemic related though, so again, more variables. I think in general, the Rondos and TIs are both really good sets. Do I prefer the Rondos over the TIs? No, I don't. Sonically, with a bow, maybe they're a little more even from string to string. I really like that, and I like that they're on here now, and I'm sure not changing them. But I find myself working a little harder in the pizzicato department. There's a little less string tension, particularly on the D string of the TIs. So doing all the pizzicato stuff that I do is much trickier with these, and I'm often in gigging situations where I'm accompanying a guitar and need to pretend to be a rhythm player. You know, or if I'm doing my solo looping sets, I want to be able to play that with ease. None of it's easy. It's triple stops pizzicato on a fretless little tiny monster. Meh. But you get the idea. I think it's slightly easier to play the style of pizzicato fingerstyle stuff that I'm exploring on the TIs compared to the Rondos. But that's really negligible, and you might argue that there is a little bit more of a nuanced tone to the Rondos overall. But these are just my first impressions off the top now that I'm thinking about it again. I've been using them casually and indifferently and enjoying them, and at no point have I gone, oh, is that Rondo thing? Or have I gone, oh, thank goodness the Rondo thing. They're just like good, and I like them. Same is true of the TIs. Same was true of the Pies. But maybe you're hearing something through the recording that's not obvious in the room, and that makes a difference. So leave a comment and let me know, which did you prefer? Do you like the TIs? Do you like the Rondos? Go back and watch the Pie video if you want to compare those. What do you like? What do you prefer? And do you have a better string than any of these for plucky pizzicato things and bluegrass and jazz and classical? I want to know what's the best all-rounder string. Leave a comment, let me know what I should try next. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like the video, it helps with the algorithm, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you to my 1.07k subscribers. We're climbing, baby, we're climbing. And thanks, as always, to my supporters on patreon.com. There is tons of exclusive content on my Patreon page that you can't get anywhere else. So if you want more, you want some early access to new music and lesson time videos, and etc., go check out my Patreon page, and thank you to everyone who is helping to support my endeavors there. Okay, that's it for this video. Thank you so much. See you in the next one. Bye.